5. Okay, we're live. This is weird. I gotta do something. This is quiet. I don't like it quiet. Alright. I don't like the quiet as much. I'm sure I can do that right now. So that's streams to see how it looks. See. Hope this sounds good. I don't know. We'll see as soon as this thing catches up with me. And then I can test my sound and see how my sound is and see if I'm too quiet or if I'm too loud. That's not too bad. Alright, well that sounds okay. I think I can make that work. So I wasn't too on the side because it's quiet. So quiet. Oh. Well, I know there's nobody here yet, but that's okay. This is kind of like a test anyway, just to see how this works out and to see if I am capable of doing something like this because I've never done anything like this before. I mean, playing video games on stream is one thing, obviously, but I haven't actually like sat and talked to the fucking camera with nothing else going on before. So this will be kind of a test run just to see if any of this stuff is fucking worth even doing, but I don't know. But yeah, mostly I've just been getting on here and playing games and talking to people when they show up. But I just feel like everybody kind of does that in a weird way. And it's not anything like against people who stream games and stuff. I mean, that's basically what YouTube was kind of built on in a lot of ways at first. Other than people just making random ass videos. But I figured I would try something a little different. I mean, again, this isn't exactly unique either compared to like what everybody else does. So it is what it is. I figure even if nobody shows up, at least it'll be a good practice to be able to see if I can, do like real streaming outside of video gaming and shit like that. I mean, video game streaming works. Don't get me wrong. It's a cool fun thing to do because I'm playing video games anyway. But outside of that, light in this fucking area looks weird. But anyway, it makes me look like a fat lip. I don't have a fat lip. I don't think I do anymore. Anyway. But yeah, I figured I would try something new and do a little talking stream. And if people come in and hang out, awesome. And if they don't, then I will go to my bedroom and cry. It is what it is. My balls work pretty well, Sean. They're quite big and masculine. And I've been told I have big balls. I'm in the process of suing the dude from Doge, Mr. Big Balls, because that's my name. I am the Big Balls, original Big Balls, OG Big Balls. But we'll let the lawyers take care of that one. But thanks, my boy. Thanks for stopping into my first ever talkie stream of delightness. Working title is an evening talk with Leprechaun. It is kind of the evening. I mean, it's almost 7:30, so I guess it's kind of evening. It's not dark yet, but I guess when winter comes around, it'll be a little bit more suited. Maybe if this goes well enough, I'll get a robe or something to wear and a little bubble pipe or something. And when I mean bubbles, I mean like bubble, like making bubbles with soap, not like smoking meth. Because if you didn't know, a bubble is a slang for a meth pipe, and I don't do meth, just weed. So, well, maybe I'll get like a little fake bubble pipe or something, and then with like a robe, and I'll act all snooty. Well, I just started, Sean. Damn, give me time to work into it. So this is going to be again, this is just kind of a new thing that I'm trying out, see if it works. I don't know if it's going to work. We'll see how it is. Everybody else kind of does this shit, but we'll see if I can do it too. But, yeah. So I guess we'll start off with something I was talking to my coworkers today about, and that's just why all these famous people are dying one after another. Now, I know that some of them are old, obviously. Ozzy was, 76, I think, something like that. Hogan was like 71. The dude from Cosby Show was not that young. He was like 54 or something, but he drowned, so that's sad. But yeah, a lot of these celebrities are just dropping like flies, and I've been around this. I've been around the sun a couple times in my life, and I don't know if I've ever found or seen people who have I don't remember if I've ever seen celebrities pass away this quick altogether. It's a little weird. I mean, it's one thing to have I don't know. They do pass away, obviously. I mean, people have accidents as people get old. It is what it is. But I mean, I feel like in the past 2 weeks, we've had every other day somebody's dead, and it's not like. I mean, I guess you could call it death nostalgia because it's like all the stuff that we have nostalgia for is kind of fading away in a way with these people dying. But that's gonna happen. That's always gonna happen. Every generation. I mean, we're gonna watch people we grow up with. We listen to their music. We go to their concerts, and we love them for what they do. And I mean, they're probably not all good people. Obviously, there's some good people out there in the world as far as entertainers and Hollywood and stuff goes. But yeah, I mean, a lot of them have done some shit they probably regret, or other people wouldn't agree with, and that's fair. Nobody's perfect. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of the death of nostalgia to a point. I mean, nostalgia really never dies; it just kind of dies for the person. Nostalgia is always born with the next generation anyway. So whatever we're nostalgia for, it's always going to kind of, it's going to bleed into the next generation for their shit. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of interesting that all of these famous people, granted, none of them what I would call young, but all these famous people are just dropping like flies, and they're within a day of each other. I mean, yeah, when Bowie died, that shit was crazy. When Michael Jackson died, that shit was crazy. When fucking Tupac died, that shit was crazy. Well, again, it's I hate to say it because it's a little bit cliche, but you got to separate the artist from the work in a lot of ways when it comes to these people. And you can't think that just because they're famous and they're celebrities and they have a lot of money that they are good people, because a lot of them are not. I mean, how many times have we heard about celebrities like fucking kids or fucking getting caught with hookers and coke and blow and or crack or something, I mean, I still remember when Hugh Grant got caught with the hooker and the crack, and everybody thought it was a fucking huge thing. And I was like, I mean, yeah, he's famous, but he just wanted to get some hooker and crack, And so it's a sad thing because And everybody falls into this. I call it like hero worshiping. And a lot of people, we always have our heroes, and unfortunately, in a lot of ways, we do worship them in our own ways. Even if you're not necessarily trying to, we all have our people that we look up to, role models and shit, which is fair. Everybody needs a role model, you know. But like when it comes to people, you got to remember that we are humans, and nobody's perfect. And there are some people in this world who have achieved great things and have done very little bad in their life that you could really scoff at. You know, maybe they like stole a. Well, yeah, I mean, Hugh Grant took accountability for it, but what the fuck are you going to say when you get caught red-handed? Like, the fuck? You know, it's not like Clinton being like, I did not have sexual relations with that woman only because he thought oral sex was not sexual copulation, and then it turns out he found out he was wrong, and then he'd come out and be like, oh, fuck. All right, I did have sexual relations with that woman, just with the mouth, though. You know, it's like... Yeah, I mean, like I said, some of them will own up to their bullshit. You know, there are some people that admit their wrongs and they go on with life and they keep it going. There are some people who never admit to their wrongs. I mean, again, we're all human beings. Just because you're famous and rich don't mean that you're any less of a human being, unless you're Mark Zuckerberg, and then you're a fucking lizard person, or like an android or something. I don't fucking know. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not necessarily saying that he didn't handle it well. It's just that he did get caught, and a lot of people. I mean, if you look at Hugh Grant, he didn't seem like the type of person that would go for hookers and drugs. But everybody's a little different, you know. So, you know, I mean, who thought that? I mean, honestly, before the whole Cosby thing came out, other than the people that like partied with him, but like a general public, who really thought Cosby was doing that shit? Nobody thought Cosby was a fucking was giving women quaaludes and fucking doing dirty things to them when they were asleep. It's one of those things where it's like once it comes out, it makes sense, but before it, you know, people really think or find out about it, it's not like a big deal until they know, you know. But I mean, I hate to say it, the richer you get, the more likely you're probably going to have some shit happen. Money definitely makes it easier to fucking do pretty much anything you want to as far as when life goes, and it helps you also get away with a lot of shit. Not all the time, but sometimes it helps you get away with some shit, you know. Power does too. Power is a big one, and the more power you have, the harder it is to kind of make you accountable for your shit. We've obviously learned that in a lot of different ways with a lot of different people, you know. So, but my point is, it's like my original thing was this whole thing was, yeah, you know, Hulk Hogan was not a great person. He was kind of a racist. He, you know, cheated on his wife with the fucking, probably more than once, to be honest. But at least, I mean, he cheated on his wife with the housekeeper, and then bore a son, and then kind of ignored the dude for a long time, and then came out when the dude was like 20 and was like, "This is my son. He is going to take on my seed. Yes, he is mine. I made him with my loins." But he didn't want anything to do with the dude for the first part of his life. So it's like, you know. But at the same time, like, his contribution to wrestling is almost unmatched. Like, and again, I'm not saying that the dude is like a god or anything, and I'm not saying that like the dude is, you know, otherworldly or anything. He's just a dude, and he probably did a lot of fucking steroids and drugs, and it's probably why he didn't live past that. Well, he lived 71, but still, I don't know if they've released the cause of death or anything yet. Hopefully, it was just, you know, natural causes. I'm hoping anyway. Yeah, separate art from artists, and I know that I get kind of caught up in the two sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I try to live that way where it's like I see the person who did the thing and I try to separate who they are. No, Randy Savage was not a saint. No. But that's a whole different story. But, you know, it just, you know, the main thing that kind of disheartens me about the whole Hulk Hogan thing was, yeah, he supported Trump. He was a Trump supporter. He was probably a Republican. I don't know for a fact if he was a Republican, but I'm assuming he's probably one. And people want to like bash on him just for that one thing. And it's like, you don't have to like, you know, who people support, but like, don't just fucking hate the dude just because he supports Trump. That's stupid. Like, if you're going to hate him, there's a lot of reasons to hate Hulk Hogan. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, he's a pretty big racist, and he was not a nice dude as far as like, you know, some of his kids go. And like, he cheated on his wife. He did a lot of bad things. He lied. He's got caught lying numerous times. But at the same time, like, you know, just I mean, again, there's better reasons to hate Hulk Hogan just because he voted for Trump or if he voted. I don't know. Anyway, just because he supported Trump, and it just I don't know. It kind of bugs me because it's like, and then not because people don't like him because he didn't like Trump. I don't give a fuck. I mean, the dude could support whatever the fuck he wanted to. But at the same time, it's just like, it's just a stupid reason to fucking dislike somebody. Like, I feel like there's so many better reasons to dislike Hulk Hogan than just because he was fucking, fucking with Trump. And it kind of sours me because it's like, it just sucks that people toss all this political shit into so many aspects of life that like we can't even mourn somebody for fucking dying because of who he supported for fucking president. And it's like, again, he's got a lot of bad things you can hate him about that are much worse than fucking, being with Trump. But, it is one of those things. And it just got me to thinking of like, it seems like most of the time when somebody famous dies, people kind of let the bullshit go for the most part. Not everybody, obviously. When Victor Salva dies, I hope everybody shits on his grave every day because that dude was a fucking horrible human being. And he still is a horrible human being. He's alive though. But, and for whoever doesn't know who Victor Salva is, he made the Jeepers Creepers movies. And the dude is a horrible pedophile, basically. Or PDF file. I don't know what you can say on YouTube, but anyway, he was not a good person. He did some horrible things to a child, and he went to jail for it. And he still makes movies. Well, he was making movies. I don't know if he makes movies anymore, obviously, because the last one he did, I think, was Jeepers Creepers 3, and that was awful. But anyway, it's like those kind of people. Yeah, they'll never be missed or remembered for anything good because they didn't do anything good. But it's just if you haven't done something that heinous, it's like if you die, I mean, you're dead now. Like, what the fuck is the point of bashing somebody who's dead? I mean, look at Michael Jackson. He had some horrible allegations against him, and none of them were, I don't think, exactly proven. I mean, at least beyond a shadow of a doubt. I think that most of them were probably true, but just regardless of the fact, But he dies, and like people came together and like celebrated his life and kind of put the bullshit aside because of what he did for music and like what he did for pop and for even just black people in general. And it's just one of those things where it's like I just wish that people would like find real reasons for this kind of placement instead of just, hey, you voted for somebody. But I just think that we should at least, take a moment of our day just to remember those who were lost, people we know, people we don't, because obviously life is a fleeting fucking thing. And we have been proven time and time again, just this week, that we never usually know when the last day is that we're going to be on this earth. And it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be a fucking 100 years from now. I'm immortal. I could never die. But still, maybe one day I catch a straight to the head and I die because it's made of 4-leaf clover bullet and I'm dead now and I can't come back because I used all my extra lives back in the 70s when I did a lot of cocaine. So, it's just one of those things that you gotta just put aside your bullshit every once in a while and just be like, damn, they did. They never coming back. But it is odd. I think that it is very odd that like all these celebrities are just dropping like fucking flies out of fucking nowhere. I mean, granted, we don't know exactly what they're going through. So some of them, yeah, maybe knew they were going. I don't know. But at the same time, I mean, it seems like every once in a blue moon you hear about a celebrity passing. Oh, that sucks. And then, you mourn a little bit and you get over it. But it's like, dude, it's like this whole month has been like fucking, there's been like fucking 10 people who've died like within rapid succession of each other. And not all of them are in like natural ways as far as we know. I mean, I know that Jamar Burton or whatever his name is, dude from Cosby Show, he drowned. That shit sucks. I don't want to fucking drown. I heard drowning is one of the worst ways to fucking go, like ever, other than like maybe burning. But yeah, drowning sucks. And it sucks that he died that way. And I think he was on vacation or something with his family in fucking Costa Rica too. And then we had obviously like the passing of fucking Ozzy, like the Dark Prince himself. That dude is and will always be one of the legends of fucking rock and roll. I mean, his impact on shit is almost immeasurable when it comes to certain things. I mean, there's so many people who probably got into fucking music because of him, or at least were helped into music because of him. And that was one that really gut punched me because I was like, God damn, like you just like don't fucking think it's gonna happen anytime soon. Then that shit happens, and you're like, what the fuck? Like he's dead. He is not coming back. We will never hear his music again unless it's just on repeat. It's like he can't contribute anything more to the world. He has moved on to the great beyond. And as somebody who's dealt with obviously like, hey, Wonder Nectar, welcome to my stream. Hope you're having a good day, and hope things are going well for you. I don't know if we've ever met or anything, but I'm Ty, and we just talking about some shit. So, and if you haven't, shoot your boy a like and a sub. That'll make me very happy. The happiest Leprechaun. And then we be homies, internet homies. It'd be cool. We all cool. We all in the hood. We in the hood homies. But yeah, so. It's just interesting. Like it makes me wonder who's next. Like I was talking to Adam, aka the Ballard, and he was like, "Fuck, I hope." His one was like, "He hopes that Michael J. Fox doesn't go next." I don't think Michael J. Fox going anytime soon, but shit's still crazy. I'm gonna be shilling. I'm shilling all the shillings because I got all the shillings because I'm the Leprechaun, and I think shillings is a. I think shillings was like a currency somewhere at some point in time in the world. Maybe it still is. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So it makes you wonder, like, wow. And I granted, all these people are old, so don't get me older anyway. So don't get me wrong. They're doesn't surprise me somebody in their 70s, but it's just kind of crazy. They're all just dropping like one after the other, man. It's just like never ending succession of fucking. Mortality. I mean, we are at the Black Parade at the moment, and it's just marching through the fucking streets. So, it just makes you, or at least it makes me like kind of stop and think about it sometimes, or lately, just like, damn, life is a fickle bitch, and you don't never know when it's going to take you out. No, I think in the words of Van Wilder, nobody gets out of life alive. It just doesn't happen, unfortunately. We are prisoners in the reality of mortality. And side note, reality of mortality, I always thought would be a fucking either a dope band name or a good like album name. And there's probably already a name somewhere. I'm probably not the first person to think about that. But reality of mortality, if somebody's in a band and wants to use that song or use that name, I will give it to you. Just put me in like a headliner or something, or like a footnote in the song or something, because that'd be cool. I'd love to be a footnote in a song one day. But yeah, it'd be cool to like date a chick who is in the band, because then like we could write songs and like they'd be like with us, and then we could like, and then she could like sing them, and I could be like fucking badass. But that probably never happened. So yeah, Cruel Summer. It's a cruel summer, and I'm here on my own. Although I will say, Cruel Summer is definitely one of those songs that needs to be used in a horror movie trailer. Because if you ever listen to like a really slow version of Cruel Summer, that shit is awesome. And I think it was used maybe in a show one time. But yeah, cool song if it's like you find like the slow scary version, that's cool. I like finding like, I think they call them like epic version of songs. I want to call them like trailer version of songs. But there are people out there who will take songs, like famous songs, and like transform them into like something that you would probably hear in a movie trailer. And sometimes they're fucking good. I remember the first time I like learned about that style of music was, well, I mean, if you call it like style, but anyway, there was this. It was kind of a stupid movie, but there was this movie called The Gallows that came out. It was a horror movie, but in the trailer they used I think not they used Smells Like Teen Spirit, but they slowed it down real hard, and they had a girl sing the lyrics real slow, and that shit was awesome. If you ever want to listen to it, I think the band that sang the song is called, I think it's called Think Up Anger or something like that. Cool band. I don't know if they're still around, but they got some cool songs where they did like a lot of like covers and shit for bands. They take like rock songs and like slow them down real hard and then like sing them real soft, and those are cool. I like those. And then some people just make instrumentals about songs and just make them all grand and shit. Those are cool too. But yeah, if they ever, Cruel Summer needs to be. I mean, they did it like in the trailer for that movie, Us. The was it Jordan Peele who made that one? They used I Got Five on it, and that shit was scary as fuck. Not the movie, but the trailer song. That shit was scary as fuck, and it was effective. And who would have thought that I Got Five on it was a scary song? It's not really a scary song. It's about buying weed and smoking with your homies, all your hood homies, and then you all got five on it, and then you buy a small ass bag of weed. And back then it was like brick weed, so that shit barely got you high. But you buy it, and then you roll up a fatty, and then you'd all smoke it, and you'd all get kind of high. I mean, damn, I remember brown weed back in the day, in the '90s. That shit was crazy. It was called brick weed, and it literally came in a brick, and it smelled like doo doo, and it kind of tasted like doo doo too, and it barely got you high. But that was all we had. That's all we had. Find the bullshit on. See, kids don't know how good they have it nowadays, man. I've gotten to that point in my life where I'm like, goddamn kids, that y'all motherfuckers don't know how good you had it, or you have it. Back in my day, when we smoked weed, that shit was brown and doo-doo weed, unless you wanted to pay like top dollar. And what I mean by top dollar was like probably back in the day like $30 an eighth. But for inflation, that'd be like $100 an eighth nowadays, probably. I don't know, but yeah, that shit was doo-doo weed. I mean, now the one thing that was probably better back in the day was probably cocaine. That was probably a lot better back in the day because you got that real good shit now, or you got that real good shit back then. If you do the right person, you can get like the 90 pure and melt half your face off, and then you walk around the rest of the day. But nowadays, all that shit is dirty, and you probably do it and die because they put fentanyl in everything now. And so, yeah, you gotta be real careful when you're doing drugs nowadays. We called it Schnickel Fritz when I was in college. And that's from Pineapple Express. But yeah, when I used to buy weed from my homie Chris, who was like my only weed dealer back then, but he was like all I needed, and we were cool. We were good friends. But yeah, we used to have a joke called the Schnickel Fritz. So like when I came over to buy weed, he would sell me like the real good weed that he'd like been growing himself and shit. And then when he sold other people weed, he would sell them the Schnickel Fritz, was both like the boo-boo shit weed that he got from somebody else. Those were good times, the Schnickel Fritz. He used to crack up every time I used to say that too. I was like, dude, he'd pull it out to sell me, and I'm like, motherfucker, don't you sell me that Schnickel Fritz. And he'd be like, oh, nah, bro, who do you think I am? I ain't selling you no Schnickel Fritz. And then, we'd get real high on some hash and some weed, and that would be cool. But yeah, one thing the one like era that I never really understood for drugs was like the Molly era. Well, not Molly, but like the like what do you call them? It's the thing that they made Molly out of. Well, not made Molly, but they made it into e-pills, ecstasy. Ecstasy is cool, but like. Now that I think back on it, ecstasy was always like dog shit. Like it was like very rare that you ever got something real good because you never knew what the fuck was in it. Anybody could make that shit, and it was like way too easy to produce. And then once you actually did like pure Molly, ecstasy was just like it's like when you do ecstasy compared to Molly, it's like it's kind of like drinking like piss water beer versus drinking like real good beer. You'll still do the piss water beer because it gets you the effect you want to do. But goddamn, is the better beer good? Like, so, I mean, God forbid anybody I know who, like anybody I mean, I don't think that anybody's ever going to find my channel that's not supposed to, but I hope they don't. I hope I'm not like doing real good and they find this and then fucking bring it up and like cancel my ass. But there was a very short time when I was in college before I left the one school I was at and started a different school because the first school I was at was garbage, and that's a whole different story. But I didn't have a job because I didn't have the time to work at the time because even though my major wasn't like super crazy, it just required a lot of work. And so when I was in college for a short time, I sold weed too. I sold weed. I didn't sell hash, but I sold weed. So when I was living in my apartment with my roommates, one of my roommates named Marty started selling weed, and he was doing pretty good at it. And he moved out, and then my friend Chris who was getting his weed from was like, "Hey, you want to start selling weed now?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Because the way it worked out was like he would give me just enough to like smoke on, and then I could sell it. And as long as I sold it and didn't like wait too long to sell it, I'd always have weed to smoke. I wasn't really like making like actual personal money on it much. I was making like 20-30 bucks here and there, but I always had weed to smoke, and that was kind of like that was like part of the point I was doing it, which might sound weird, um, but yeah, it was basically like free weed, and all I had to do was sell the weed for them. And I did actually okay. I probably could have kept going for a while, um, and then one of my roommates made it real awkward, and then I had to quit selling it because he's being a bitch about it. Um, and when I stopped, so when I stopped and moved, there was apparently, and I don't know if this is true or not, but one of my friends from my school told me that fucking once I moved and like I wasn't selling weed no more because at the time there was like nobody else selling it either in our area that like people knew of, and so people just knew I had it, and so they would sell, I'd sell it, and people would. So when I left, there was no plug around, at least not an easy one to get, and people got pissed, and I guess for whatever reason they went and like super harassed my fucking ex roommate to the point where he like left school and like moved back home, and like I didn't know it was happening until somebody told me like way later, because I ran into somebody I went to school with, and I was like, he was like, dude, did you hear what happened after you left? And I was like, nah. I was like, I didn't really care because at that point I was just fed up with the school and I left. Um, I like more or less dropped out, but like I ended up transferring to a different school. Uh, yeah, I mean, so you kind of know what I mean, Sean. You were doing kind of the same thing in a way. But yeah, so I guess when I left, people like the people that I used to buy weed from started showing up at my old apartment, and then they had to tell them that like I wasn't living there anymore. And then like I guess word got around that like one of the reasons I stopped selling was because fucking my douchey roommate was being a fucking douche about it and like was being really weird about it. And because he was like from like Oklahoma or something, or like Idaho or some central state, I think. And not that that's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I've known other people from those states before. My homeboy Chris was from Arkansas. Um, so yeah, I mean it's like Midwestern, like New Mexico over there. So, but he was like, I don't know how to explain it without like being too derogatory. But the dude was like a marshmallow man. Like he wasn't super fat, but he was definitely like very pudgy, and like he just didn't like me. But put it this way, he didn't like me. He didn't like anything about me really. I don't know why. I wasn't like mean to the dude or anything. He was just an asshole, and he was a fucking like whiny ass crybaby bitch. Is all I can say about him. But anyway, long story short, I guess when I left, people kept showing up to my apartment to buy weed, and they found out I wasn't there. And then they found out one of the reasons I wasn't there is because fucking my roommate made it like impossible to fucking live there, so I left. And fucking then people found out who he was, and then people started giving him shit everywhere he went. Like as far as the school goes, like anybody who knew me and had bought weed for me, and like other people who knew me, they'd see him and they like throw things at him and like call him a bitch and like, hey, what's up, Karis? I'm not just an internet leprechaun. I'm a leprechaun on the internet. But yes, I do exist. I'm over 10,000 years old, and life is getting a little stressful. Um, but yeah, so basically, I guess, and I don't know for a fact, but I was told that he was harassed so much that eventually he dropped out of school and went home. I don't know if that was true, but I would like to think it is because that dude deserved it. Oh, damn, Karis. 3 plane rides. The most I've ever done was 2. That was just like layovers. But I've had some brutal plane rides before. Like, yeah. Um, the worst one I had was I was coming back from somewhere. I don't remember where the fuck it was. It might have been Florida. It might have been somewhere else. But I was coming back from somewhere, and my plane uh, what is it called? We got like landed and transferred like 4 times because we kept running into like the shittiest weather. And I don't know what the fuck our luck was, but trying to get from like one side of the country was fucking impossible. And they kept like landing and then rerouting us to like different places. It was fucking awful, dude. Like I remember that day. It took me like almost all day to get home, and that flight's usually like fucking 5 hours. It was just insane. I probably should have had a fucking flight voucher or some shit for as much as they put me through, but it is what it is. I hope you're doing good though, Karis. Miss hanging out with you, dude. Hope everything's been good. Hope your travels go well. Hope work's going well. Hope everything's going good. But yeah, that was my short stint selling drugs. I never sold drugs after that of any kind because I just wasn't very good at it as far as I was okay at it, but that was a kind of a small microclimate where I was in school doing it. I couldn't have probably done it in real life. Somebody would have robbed my ass eventually and killed me or something. So yeah, it was cool. It lasted. It was like 6 months. That was cool. I had free weed for 6 months, but everything's got to come to end. Nothing lasts forever. Not even Dragon Balls. So eventually I had to stop selling weed, but it was cool while it lasted. And eventually I just kept buying it. And now I buy my own weed because you don't need to have a hookup in where I live because it's all illegal anyway. So, but now so celebrity dying, that's pretty crazy. I'm pretty sad, but I'll get over it. Hopefully nobody dies tomorrow or anytime soon. Hopefully we'll break from all the mortality and shit. So, I think the Fantastic Four movie's coming out. I think Sam was going to see it today. Hope it's good. I'll probably see it this weekend. I don't have super high hopes, but it probably will be slightly better than the other Fantastic Four movies they made. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. The first two they made were not great movies, but oh yeah, rip Chuck Mangione too. That was a sad one too. But the dude was 86, so he lived a life. I feel like anybody who makes it past the age of 80, if you go after that, sucks. But hey, at least you got to live a pretty good life. Dragon. Oh no, I was saying that nothing. I like to use a quote from the old Toonami, when Toonami used to be on and they used to have all the shows. They always used to play little interludes between the shows and shit on there. And there was one quote that they used to put every time on Toonami, and it was Goku saying that nothing lasts forever, not even the Dragon Balls. And I like to use that quote because it's true. Nothing lasts forever, not even the Dragon Balls, because that shit got turned into rocks once Piccolo fused with Kami and then took away the Dragon Balls. And then everybody was real mad. But then they got Dende, so they got him back, but they didn't have him for a little while. And that was scary because, if you die, then, they couldn't wish you back and shit. Worst MacGuffin ever, but, it is what it is. Worst MacGuffin in one of the greatest animes ever made, but it is what it is. No, I was curious if they would do one after Toriyama died because I hate this. So, fun fact, Dragon Ball Evolution, the movie that they made with, what was that guy's name? Justin Furlong or something? The dude from Shameless. Yeah, he was. What was I going to say? So when Dragon Ball Evolution came out, the only live action Dragon Ball I think movie's ever been made, it was so bad, and rightly it was. Don't get me wrong, that movie was dog shit. But basically, when that movie came out, Toriyama watched it and said it was so bad that he basically forbade a live action Dragon Ball movie from ever being made ever again. But now that he's dead, I always wondered if maybe somebody would try. Also, rip Toriyama. That was also a hard one, but that's been a little while. But goddamn, rip to the legends, man. They're all going home, back to the great beyond. But yeah, that'd be cool. I always wanted to do a live action Dragon Ball movie. Now, the problem with Dragon Ball, though, or at least Dragon Ball Z, is that it's pretty long, and it would be kind of hard to condense to a certain point because you'd have to cut out a lot of shit. They did it with One Piece, which is probably the longest anime ever, or close to one of the longest animes ever. I had watched it. I heard people said it was pretty decent, even compared to Cowboy Bebop, which is apparently fucking abysmal. But it's with those with animes, making them into movies is tricky because if there's a lot of material, you got to figure out how to condense that shit to a movie size. And with Dragon Ball Z, if they ever made it into a movie, it'd be hard. It'd be tricky to know where to start the movie and how the pacing would be, because you would have to assume that people who are watching it, which most people probably do, actually know the story of Dragon Ball Z, and then you'd have to figure out kind of where to start it. Like, would you start it at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, where Raditz comes down and takes Gohan, and then him and and then Goku and Vegeta have to fight him, or not? Sorry, Goku and Piccolo had to fight him, and then like, would you end the movie after the Saiyan fight, like after he beats Vegeta? Although Yajirobe the real OG when it comes to Vegeta fighting, because that motherfucker cut off his tail and he sliced him in the back with a sword. So Yajirobe, he a real dude. He the dude. He an all-star. He an anime all-star. He didn't ever do anything else other than just made on. Well, I mean, Sean, it's Dragon Ball Z. Who the fuck are you going to focus the movie on? It's going to be Goku and like the rest of everybody else. Now, again, they could do it, and they just have to, you'd have to have somebody direct the movie who knows what the fuck they're doing, because the reason why Evolution was so bad, and this is really kind of sad to admit, but apparently the writers and the director had almost literally no idea what Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball was. They had very little information, and they didn't even look anything up. And so, well, yeah, you could base it on Gohan, but at the same time, Gohan's not you'd have to change a lot to make Gohan the central figure, because Gohan's not the central figure until the Cell arc. He has moments, but he's not the central figure. I mean, granted, everybody's more of a character than Goku, because Goku was just. Well, yeah, I mean, again, but you have to change some stuff to be able. I don't know. It's like I said, it's a tough thing to do. Now, granted, there are some really good Dragon Ball Z live action fan made movies on the internet. If anybody ever gets, I think that the one that this one dude made was called Ray of Hope or something like that. And I think it was the Android saga, but the Trunks Android saga. That was really good. And then I think somebody else made short. The other people made short live action Dragon Ball movies, where just snippets of the battles and shit, and they were really fucking good. And I'm like, dude, if people can make their own fan made Dragon Ball fucking Z little fan made movies and shit, and they're better than shit that comes out with billions of dollars behind it and shit. What does that say about the bullshit they're putting out in the entertainment industry? I mean, again, at least they treated One Piece a little better when they made the movie or show or whatever it was, from what I heard anyway. But Cowboy Bebop, yeah, I don't know what the fuck. Well, Boo was always pretty powerful, but that was at the end of Dragon Ball Z. I mean, he obviously was in GT too, but GT gets a bad rap. I feel the first half of GT was pretty garbage. The second half of GT is pretty good though. And I feel like if people just watch the second half, they would enjoy it more. But yeah, the first half of GT is pretty ass. I won't lie. I mean, the best thing that GT did was give us Super Saiyan 4, obviously, and Omega Shenron. But yeah, but see, the thing with Dragon Ball Z is so if you were gonna make movies, the way I always saw it was you'd have to probably make a movie out of every arc in a way. So the first movie would have to be the Saiyan arc, and then you'd leave a cliffhanger open for the Frieza arc, and then you'd have to work into the Cell arc, and then you'd have to work into the Boot arc. But that'd be really hard, because you'd have to condense. Well, no, the anime of Bebop is fucking phenomenal. The anime of Bebop is probably one of the best animes ever made, at least for American standards and shit. I mean, somebody probably who's an anime weeb will probably tell me there's other ones, but. In my opinion, Cowboy Bebop is probably one of the best animes ever made. But the live action show or movie or whatever they made, I heard, was not very good, obviously. Now, one thing is the casting, obviously. Much like the Borderlands movie that they made out of the game, the casting was fucking awful. And I don't know who the fuck was smoking crack to get these people to play the fucking parts of the movie. But, it's good casting is not hard to do if you understand what the fuck you're casting for. And I think that's the problem that is happening with a lot of these shows and movies and shit, where they try to adapt something and they have no fucking clue what they're trying to adapt. Yeah, everybody wants to forget Sean. Believe me, I heard it was pretty bad. I haven't watched it, but I heard it was pretty bad. I've seen snippets of it. Now, granted, the very end of it, where they introduced Ed, yeah, it kind of made me want to shoot myself in the face, because Ed, that was god awful. And but I heard the general casting overall was just not great. So it is what it is. I heard, like I said, they did much better on One Piece. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what they did. But again, adapting anime is kind of a hard thing to do a lot of the time. I mean, shit, even adapting video games is kind of hard for a lot of people to do because I mean, how many successful video game movies has there been? Not many. I mean, Sonic probably broke the mold for video game movies to be actually good, and then the Mario Brother movies, they. Well, when I say live action, I mean like okay, so obviously Sonic was live action technically. He's not live action, but the movie was. Now Mario, you could argue, is not live action. That's CGI, but it's the best we're gonna get because we already got one live action Mario, and it was not good. Granted, love Bob. I unabashedly love the Mario Brothers movie. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a phenomenal movie in a weird way, but it was not a good movie. Um, well, yeah, I mean, the OG Mortal Kombat was probably like the first time that I think a video game movie actually did well, to be honest. I think that was like the first time where they actually nailed something. But again, I mean, the casting was pretty spot on for the most part. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They had a tournament, they had the important characters in there. Like, they knew what they were doing and they did it well. And then you have Annihilation, and somebody just decided to take the whole thing and just put it into a pile and shit on it, and then lit it on fire, and then poured hair on it, and then shit on it again, and then 7 people like threw up on it, and then they burned it again, and then you had Annihilation because god awful. Like, what the fuck were they? I mean, granted, the one thing I think that they did well in our Annihilation that I kind of get pushing back on is something is the dude who played Shang Tsung, or not Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn. I think the dude who played Shao Kahn actually was really good. I can never remember his name, but he's like a kind of a weird looking dude. But again, only because of like he kind of did in a way like remind me of Shao Kahn, and so I could see him playing Shao Kahn. Obviously, we'll see if the new one is any better. I'm sure it probably will be a little better, but well, no, okay, so yeah, I will give you that, Sean. The roster on fucking Annihilation was awesome because Mortal Kombat 1 was definitely like the movie definitely fit like the roster of the game. There was enough people in there, but there wasn't everybody. Granted, I know Goro wasn't in the first game, but still, it was enough characters in there that you were like, okay, this kind of seemed like a fighting game roster of like what you'd have for 1, and then 2 just kicked it up a notch. Unfortunately, most of it was pretty ass, and there was really weird spots in it, and not everybody was cast well. I mean, half the cast was replaced for 1 because they didn't want to come back. They wouldn't. I think most of them they wouldn't pay him enough or something. I think was what it was. But they obviously got what's his name back to play the main dude, and then but nobody else really came back. I mean, the girl who played Sonya Blade, I can never remember her name. She fine as fuck though. Bridget, I want to say Bridget Wilson, maybe. She hella fine though. She's still pretty as fuck. I'd still smash tall hell. But no, she didn't come back, obviously, and so they replaced her with whoever the fuck that lady was. Johnny Cage got replaced because he died the first like fucking 30 seconds of the movie, which is still a low blow. Okay, yeah, I guess that's fair enough, Sean. Definitely, I guess, yeah. The first movie did kind of feel like a combination of 1 and 2, I guess, and then 3 definitely was like ultimate. There wasn't that many characters, but there was still enough. I mean, there was still as many as you probably could fit in one movie. I will give the remake or like the redo or the reboot, I guess. I will give the reboot the fact that they did put in other characters, even though they were pretty shit, but they still it did other characters besides the same ones. Although if you noticed it in the trailer for Mortal Kombat 2, the new one, it doesn't look like that dude Cole is going to be coming back, and so I think that they realized they fucked up creating such a shitty character and made him. They're like, dude, you have all of these fucking characters to choose from to be the main character. I mean, Kung Lao, like Liu Kang, like Johnny Cage, any of these people, Sonya Blade, they could all be the main characters of a fucking movie, and you made it was like the creative character selection screen of like the old Mortal, I think it was like Mortal Kombat 4 or something. You got to create a character, I think, in one of them, and then you could like choose the fighting styles. It was like that, but like if you chose like the most boring fucking character ever. Well, it's because they fucked up. Because for whatever reason, they wanted to make that Cole dude the fucking main character. Dude sucked. Dude was not cool. He was like, I have a family. Nobody gave a fuck. He like wanted to fight but didn't want to fight. Nobody gives a fuck, dude. Like, nobody cares about your bullshit. And what was his power? He got fucking, like, super armor. The fuck? Like, nobody did super armor and fucking, yeah, mocap, basically. Super armor and fucking, like, nunchakus or whatever. They kind of look like nightsticks or whatever that, like, spawned out of his back. I don't know. He pulled them out of his ass. Stupidest fucking character in the world. What the fuck were you thinking? Like, so many characters you could have chosen to make. I mean, you could have made the fucking whole thing about Scorpion. You could have made it about Johnny Cage. You could have made it about any of them. And you chose some fucking random ass fucking nobody cared about fucking character who just bitched the whole time. I don't know what my... What were the Arcana? I don't know when it was it Arcana or was it something? Whatever. I don't know what my special power is. I'm so sad. And they're beating me up because I don't know what my power is. Oh, my power is armor. Tonfa. Yeah, they were Tonfas. They were fucking booty fuzz. I actually didn't like. I liked every character for the most part in that movie. The way they were cast, I did think it was a little weird that, like I said, what's his name? Not Kung Lao. The main guy in Mortal Kombat. I'm blanking right now. I'm stoned. Something like that. Yeah, Sean, I think you're right. But anyway, the main Asian guy from Mortal Kombat, I can't think of his name at the moment. But anyway, that guy, he should have been the main character because he is the main character in fucking Mortal Kombat. Like, every Mortal Kombat was about him and then everybody else. Liu Kang. Liu Kang was like the guy in every Mortal Kombat like game until like the way later ones. But like, he still was like the chosen one. Like, he was always the chosen one. I mean, the dude took over Liu Kang. Dude took over Raiden after fucking Raiden like gave up the towers to make Liu Kang like a fucking fire god, and then now Raiden gone, except for like young Raiden or something like that. I don't know. I haven't played Mortal Kombat 1, but I heard like the whole retconning thing is a little weird. But anyway, yeah, Liu Kang could have made him a main character. He was like a side character who was like best friends with fucking Kung Lao, and Kung Lao's a cool character. Don't get me wrong, he was badass and fucking. In Shaolin Monks, he was probably my favorite character to play other than like Sub-Zero and maybe Scorpion, but yeah, they made him like these weird fucking side characters, and it was stupid. And they made the fucking Cole or whatever his name is fucking like the main guy, and he's stupid, and he sucked, and nobody liked him. And so when they decided to make the sequel, they were like, yeah, let's not put Cole back in because he's stupid. Well, Quan Chi wasn't until the later games, but yeah, you're right for the most part. And I mean, granted, the lore of Mortal Kombat's pretty deep, but I'm just saying for the games in general, like as you went along, Liu Kang was pretty much the main guy the whole time. Now, other characters obviously had like other shit going on, like some people died and came back and like time traveled and shit. It was crazy, but yeah, just in general, like. I think that they learned their lesson, which, I mean, not saying the movie's going to be phenomenal, but I think it's definitely headed in the right direction. Now, and I might be saying this, I think it's Carl Urban, the guy who's playing Johnny Cage in this one. He's the dude from The Boys. I like him as an actor. I've liked him in most of the stuff that I've seen him in. He's not like my favorite actor in the world, but I think that most of the stuff I've seen him in, for the most part, has been pretty good. He was pretty fucking funny in Thor Ragnarok. I won't lie. But Carl Urban is an interesting dude. And I like his acting style most of the time. He's always kind of the same guy, but I still enjoy watching him whenever he's in a movie or a show or something. When I first heard that they casted him as Johnny Cage, I was a little confused because, I mean, Carl Urban's not old, but he's not like young either. And Johnny Cage, even though in like the recent ones, like they have like young Johnny and old Johnny, but even old Johnny's not that old. Like I think he's like 40 or something like that. But he still seemed like a little older in the movie, obviously because Carl Urban's a little older, so like he's probably like slightly older Johnny Cage, like 45 Johnny Cage, and that's fair. Interesting, kind of making him the main character, I guess, in a way, at least from what the trailer show. I don't know if they're gonna pull a 180 and fucking bring back Cole or whatever, but for the most part, it seems like Johnny Cage is like kind of the new main character of the thing, at least the more main character, I guess. There might be more than one main character, but whatever. But, it's cool. I mean, and I know that people are freaking out about Bald Jade, and I think it's kind of stupid, but, I've learned to accept these things because, fuck, what does it matter anymore? If Bald Jade is the worst they could do, I guess we consider ourselves lucky because it could have been, like, fucking way worse. I don't particularly like the chick who plays Jade. I've seen her in a couple movies, and she doesn't really do much. So we'll see if she's a little better in this one. Um, but yeah, again, that's some people don't like it. I mean, it's understandable. I've always been one of those people that like people are free to dislike something if they want to, and if a lot of people dislike something, fair enough. That doesn't make them bad people or like make them wrong or anything. People can call it weird if they want to because it's like if you want to like hate a character because they look different, then that's fair. But at the same time, like people are fair to think you're weird for caring so much. I don't know. But I'm a child of the '90s. We saw a lot of fucking like race and gender swaps that people don't remember. And so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, bald Jade, not my favorite pick, but like at the same time, Jade with hair, I mean, what the fuck does it matter? As long as the chick does a good job, it really doesn't fucking care. As long as the movie's good, I don't fucking care. And the movie looks like it's pretty cool. I mean, they have new characters in it, which is cool. Which I mean, you kind of have to because most of them died in the last one. But sucks they're not going to bring Kano back because Kano was actually what's the guy name? The guy's name's Jai Courtney or something like that. He was a pretty good fucking Kano. I won't lie. I mean, he wasn't Australian, I don't think. So fair enough. The original dude who played him was Australian, I think, and that's cool. I enjoy the original Mortal Kombat still. So he was cool. I don't remember his name, but he always played like a bad guy in like every movie he was ever in. So he was always like the henchman. What reeks of trying to rip off Black Panther? What do you mean by that, Sean? Although Black Panther, so way off topic, but Sean brings up a point. It's funny that everybody was like, I mean, nobody talks about it anymore, but everybody's freaking out that Ryan Gosling, which I still wonder if that's real. I always thought it was like a huge, like not April Fool's, but like a joke. But everybody's all pissed off that Ryan Gosling got casted as Black Panther, and what was it? Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think that lady's bald anyway, though, and I think that like every movie I've seen, she's been bald. So, yeah. I mean, she's another bald. Like, I don't know if she's black. I'm gonna assume she's black. She probably could be mixed with something else. She does look like she has like Puerto Rican or something in her. But yeah, bald, like person of color lady. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I've only seen her in a couple of movies, and she's never been like amazing in any of them because she didn't have a big part. Like the last movie I remember seeing her in, I think, was the fucking Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Marky Mark, and she was like the second bad guy in that movie. Like, and then she killed the first bad guy, and then she failed. No. Jada Pinkett Smith got out acting a while ago, which is probably good because I didn't ever really like Jada Pinkett Smith as an actress, to be honest. Might be a hot take. I don't know. This is long before. I just, to be honest, I've never really liked Jada Pinkett Smith. I just never have. I don't know why. Like, as an actress or as a person. I didn't even know that much about her, and I never really liked her. And I'm not saying, like, jump on the Jada Pinkett Smith bandwagon of hate, but, like, I just never really liked her as a person. I mean, before or after she fucking lost her hair. I mean, obviously after all that shit that Will Smith came out with, yeah, I definitely don't like her, but, I didn't have anything against her back in the day, personally. I just never liked her as a person or as an actress. I can't remember a movie that I actually really liked her in, to be honest. And, yeah, so I don't think she ever will be, and especially after everything that came out about her and Will, like, I don't think anybody would actually hire that bitch, but... Well, you are right, Sean. I won't. That is true. Now, granted, it's you could say the same thing about like every black. Like, okay, so if you saw the first Black Panther movie, Killmonger, so that hairstyle became like the thing for black characters, right? Like that, like the like dreads, but they all droop to the side, like side droop dreads, and then like one side just didn't have no dreads. Yeah, I heard a lot of people, both of many backgrounds and cultures and shit, eventually start complaining about how that was like they have been overusing that hairstyle for a while, and like not every fucking black person in a movie had to have the same fucking hairstyle. I'm sure they said the same thing about like afros and shit back in the day, or like cornrows and shit. You know what I mean? It sucks, yeah. I mean, as much as you get the representation, um, I mean, I get what you mean with that, Sean, with the white representation of Disney princesses. Now, granted, granted, if you look at the source material for a lot of the stories that those are based off of, a lot of them are white women. Not all of them, but a lot of them are white women. So, at the very least, I mean, they stay true to the whole thing. A lot of those stories too were written by like Scandinavians and shit. I mean, you got to remember that, like Germans and fucking and fucking Scandinavian folk. And so yeah, I mean, it makes sense on like why a lot of Disney princesses would be white, because a lot of the stories that came from not all of them obviously, because we eventually just started getting other ethnicities for Disney princesses, obviously. Pocahontas, Mulan, the chick from the Frog movie. There's probably other ones. I'm just blanking on them at the moment. But yeah, I mean, it's a trope, but it came from somewhere, and it came from the actual stories they wrote, and that's just the way that they wrote them. I hate to say it. It's nothing. I mean, at the same time, like, yeah, you could change a lot of that shit, but it's, well, again, I mean, the way I see it is, again, most of those movies are based off of really old stories, and in these stories, these women are white women who were princesses. It's just one of those. It's one of those things. It's the time. It was a sign of the times and the sign of the places where they were written. You're not going to find very many like German folklore or Dutch folklore that involves like people of other fucking races, because they just didn't really write it like that. Well, I mean, again, that's. I mean, you're right. They could change it. I'm just telling you the reason on why they are represented that way is because from the places where the stories they were taken from, that's just the way it was. But Disney got wise to it and eventually started doing movies with other races and shit as the princesses and stuff like that, and that's cool. I'm all down for it. I mean, and we've got other studios that have done. Oh yeah, no, I'm like I said, I'm all with you on that, Sean. Yeah, the original stories, a lot of these things were fucking terrifying. Again, a lot of them were like grim fairy tales and shit back in the day, and they were scary. Thank you, Karis. Hope you're having a good day. Fly safe, and hopefully we'll hang out soon. But yeah, I get where you're coming from, Sean, and that's been an argument for a while, since like people got kind of fed up with it. And again, I mean, they have done, at least Disney's done something about it and created, more of an ethnic look to their movies and shit like that. And they've expanded on, doing different cultures and stuff. I mean, Moana, Rapunzel was white, but Rapunzel was always white. But still, I mean, they just, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I get what you're saying. There's a lot of white women who were princesses, and they could have changed it, but I don't know if they wanted to back then. But you got to remember you got to remember who Walt Disney was. I mean, the dude was an flaming anti-Semitic who loved white people and didn't like many others. So it kind of makes sense on why a lot of those stories were written about white women. But eventually, I mean, they started doing a little better. I think that the color of Disney princesses is probably the last thing that Disney needs to be worried about now, because their ship is just constantly slowly sinking. I mean, it'll probably never actually sink, but they're losing money every day on bullshit that they just want to pull. I think they kind of get wise to it every once in a while, but they make the same mistakes again. So I don't know if you can really say they learn from them. But it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying though. Yeah, not every black person in the movie needs to be fucking bald, or not every black woman needs to be bald. Not every tiny white woman needs to be able to kick ass either. I mean, you got a lot of these movies where like these little white women are fucking taking down like 300-pound men and shit, no problem. And it probably wouldn't happen in real life, but it is what it is. Everybody's got a problem with something when it comes to something, so Uh, not saying that not saying that anybody's wrong, but well, no, they had Mulan. Mulan was not white, and I mean she's considered a Disney princess. I'm pretty sure. Um, there probably was others. How is Mulan not a Disney princess? That doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, she's not like a princess in the traditional sense, but come on, like she might as well be. I'm pretty sure I've seen her in fucking some of the movies. Like I'm pretty sure I saw her in Wreck-It Ralph as a princess or something in there. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if you. I don't know what the fuck Disney does with their shit. I mean, well, okay, then if she's not a Disney princess, that's stupid. She should probably be one, but that's kind of unfair that the one Asian girl that they put. Well, yeah, Jasmine, I guess. Yeah, she's Middle Eastern, so that makes sense. Um, although her dad was white as fuck, if I remember correctly. So she wasn't all Middle Eastern. Her dad was a short fucking bull. Whatever happened to her mom, dude? Like her dad must have been fucking. Her dad must have been like a suave motherfucker because she looked like Jasmine's mom. That dude really like pulled some shit. Yeah, Jasmine was. Jasmine's. I didn't realize Mulan was not a Disney princess. That seems kind of fucked up. You got an Asian girl in there and she can't even be a princess. That's the real racism, man. They just hate Asians. But nah, it. Yeah, Disney's been whitewashed for a long time. We get it. I mean, it's been one of those silent things that everybody's kind of known about for a long time. Uh, well, yeah, but I mean, again, they started shifting shit around now. So I mean, of course, Disney. Like I said, Disney they got a lot of other problems. I mean, Disney can't get it right in a lot of ways. I don't know what the fuck, and it's probably because they have too many like different owners and shit. I'm sure there's a big swinging door when it comes to executives and shit with that stuff, but. Yeah, I mean Disney can't do shit right. They destroyed Star Wars. Like they fucking ruined everything they've ever fucking touched. Like they pretty much crushed Marvel. I mean Marvel was like the biggest thing around fucking like ever, and they just destroyed that shit real bad. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's unfortunately one of those things that Disney, they got their heads up their asses, and I've had a problem with Disney for a long time and the way they do things, and it is what it is. I mean I could bitch all day about Disney, but it would never change anything. They're not going to listen to me. So they're going to continue doing what they're doing until they can't do it no more, basically. And that's fair to a way, but goddamn, like it just baffles me the fucking kind of people that they fucking let do this shit and then they fucking lose them all this money and then they're like, oh, okay, no problem. Like, dude, if you lost me fucking billions of dollars, I'd be taking out your fucking kneecaps, your fucking elbows, and digging you into a real shallow grave, probably next to fire ants, and then pour honey all over you, and then let them eat you. But yeah, I've had a big thing with Disney for a while. My friend Jeff kind of makes fun of me sometimes because I just shit on Disney sometimes real bad. Well, again, I mean, Nickelodeon was cool. I mean, Nickelodeon was more TV though. Disney, I mean, they did eventually get the Disney Channel, yeah. But I always felt like Disney for a long time was more like movies and shit until they were TV. The Disney Channel, I mean, they had some pretty good shows. It wasn't much different than Nickelodeon, but yeah, I mean, Cartoon Network was my shit. I'm sorry, I watched Disney Channel once in a blue moon for certain shows if I saw it on, but no, Cartoon Network was my shit. I'm sorry, I watched that shit all the fucking time. I loved like every show on fucking Cartoon Network. Man, that shit was my jam. Nickelodeon, yeah, I watched some Nickelodeon too until Cartoon Network. I think Nickelodeon was first, and then Cartoon Network came out later. But yeah, I was a Cartoon Network kid for sure. Once that shit was on, like that was it. And I mean, kind of ripped to Cartoon Network because they aren't around anymore. Obviously, I don't think well, they might be around still as far as like the TV channel goes. I'm assuming, but it's probably all reruns and shit now. But goddamn, I mean, Nickelodeon's still I think around too, if I remember correctly. I mean, I think Disney Channel is even still around too. I haven't had cable in many years, but I would assume they still have their own channel. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Cartoon Network was huge. I think that they kind of squashed Nickelodeon eventually because Nickelodeon kind of started dying off a little bit here and there. I think Disney Channel kind of kept up. I think Disney Channel probably kept up the most with Cartoon Network. because again, Cartoon Network was mostly around cartoons. They had some live action stuff, but it was mostly cartoons. Disney Channel kind of took the other upper hand and made everything live action show. And that's kind of how I felt like they kind of broke down. Like if you like cartoons, most of the time you watch Cartoon Network. If you liked live action shows, a lot of the time you were watching Disney Channel because they just had more. I mean, most of the Disney Channel shows, if I remember correctly, were live action on that TV show or whatever. So, but yeah, no, Cartoon Network was the bomb. I mean, we got some weird fucking cartoons, man. Like the '90s, dude, were open to some weird fucking shit when it came to cartoons. I mean, yeah, like Cow and Chicken probably was one of the weirder shows outside of Kablam. I don't remember if you remember Kablam, Sean. That was the one where it was like like they had all the mini shows inside the one big show, and that's where they had like Action League Now, Krog and something, the alien and the caveman. Kablam was I actually still watch Kablam. I think you can watch episodes of it on fucking YouTube still for free. That somebody like illegally loaded up. But yeah, Kablam, that was my shit. They had a lot of good shows. Yeah, Action League Now was probably the best one. That shit was funny. They need to bring back Action League Now. That shit would be fucking hilarious nowadays, man. I still watch that shit and laugh. Prometheus and Grog, that's what it was called. It was called Prometheus and Grog, the caveman and the alien. No dialogue. Just these fucking claymation fucking alien and caveman, dude. And that shit was... Yeah, dude, that shit was fucking... Dude, Prometheus and Grog was some of the funniest shit for, like, no reason. And I guarantee you, whoever made that fucking show or came up with that show was a fucking huge stoner. Because the shit that they came up with on that fucking particular show, Prometheus and Grog, man, only shit that stoners would come up with, dude. That shit was fucking hilarious. Like, that shit was fucking... It still makes me laugh when I think about that. Oh, Prometheus and Bob? Okay. Yeah, Prometheus and Bob. That shit was fucking, like, one of the funniest shows for, like, no reason. Like, no fucking reason. And it was one of the shortest shows, I think, on there, if I remember correctly, on the whole of the Blam. It was only, like, 5 minutes an episode or something. But that shit fucking had me rolling. Yeah, I mean, in a way, yes. Obviously, Robot Chicken kind of took the Family Guy South Park route, where it's like everything they did was pop culture, which is fair enough. I mean, you know, the first couple seasons of fucking Robot Chicken are still funny. I still watch Robot Chicken every once in a blue moon if I can find it on there somewhere. Later ones got a little repetitive, but still pretty funny. And it was funny because it was like aimed at adults, but kids could watch it too. Or like teens, I would say. Teens could watch it. And yeah, that shit was funny. But Kablam, they had this interesting way of doing shit before. Like Kablam was I would say the whole of Kablam was kind of like Robot Chicken before Robot Chicken, because they had so many different... well, yeah, I mean, that is true. That dude did better on his creations than he ever did on his acting. Like, the fuck? Like, Seth Green built his empire, like, on a few acting roles and, like, just idea after fucking idea for shows. Like, that dude created more fucking good shows than fucking most people would ever, like, want to admit. And then, you know, Buffy. He got pretty famous off Buffy, but he was a werewolf. And, yeah. I don't remember his name in Buffy, but he was a werewolf. He was a little werewolf. Fits in a werewolf. He's like my height. He's like 5'3". We're the same height. We fight with knives. But yeah, Seth Green, he cool. He an all-star. I still think Seth Green kind of funny in some stuff. Not as funny as I used to think, but he's still pretty funny for the most part. And he's just Seth Green. Like, he don't even act anymore. He's just himself, and he's still funny. So that's how you know you're a funny dude. If you can make people laugh and you ain't doing shit, like, you got a gift. Not a lot of people can do that. But yeah, I hope the Fantastic Four movie is cool though. I probably will see it because again, it can't be any worse than fucking Fantastic Four. That shit was awful. It probably will be better than the Chris Evans Fantastic Four. But I kind of enjoyed those in a stupid way. I mean, they were dumb comic book movies back in the day. So I hope it's good. I'm definitely excited to see Galactus like as Galactus versus like a fucking puffy cloud. So that'll be cool. I hope it's a good movie though. I don't have super high hopes, but I hope it's a good movie. Um, I'm not a fan of Pedro Pascal at all, but I hope it's a good movie. I'm not looking forward to seeing the stupid face, but I hope it's a good movie. So, yeah, I'm going for different reasons. I'm not going for Pedro Pascal. I'm going to see other things. So, the Roger Corman fucking Fantastic Four was that ever actually released? I want to almost say it like was made and then like got leaked out somewhere eventually, but like yeah, the Roger Corman is special. That's a special one. Next, you're gonna tell me that the '94 Captain America movie was superior. Although I will say, '94 Cap. I think it was '94. '94 Captain America. Best death scene ever with the end with Red Skull when he dies. That shit still makes me laugh like to this day. um, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of old comic book movies that were made that a lot of people just don't know about. It's kind of funny if you think about it. I asked myself the same question, Sean. I assumed that he would become. No, the cheesy Marvel movies are great if you just watch them for the cheese. I mean, I think there's like an old Spider-Man movie from like way back in the day, too, before like Marvel ever made a movie. Um, yeah, Red Skull's Italian. Um, so I mean, yeah, it's just a lot of people that didn't know that they actually made some of these movies until way later because they weren't like super popular. And I mean, I still remember like concepts for like the original X Men movie and shit before they made it, and like who they wanted to cast and shit like that. I still remember when they were talking about casting in the Marvel accurate Wolverine, and the dude was going to be like 5 foot. Fuck. But things happen. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I never hope a movie's bad. Why would I want a movie to be bad if I'm going to go see it? I hope that it's going to be good. I don't know. So after Doctor Strange came out, everybody kind of assumed that when they announced they were going to do a Fantastic Four movie, that Cranston was going to be Mr. Fantastic. But then everybody also assumed that fucking Emily Blunt was going to be fucking Miss Fantastic because they won't do a movie without each other most of the time. So if one of them was making it, they both in it. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be against Emily Blunt being Mrs. Fantastic. Um, so that would have been cool. I couldn't tell you why they didn't do it. I only assumed that maybe it was something to do with money or something. Maybe they wanted too much. I don't know, or they just didn't ever consider him in the first place. Who knows? But he would have been cool. He'd been a cool. I think he probably would have been better than fucking Pedro Pascal, but I just don't like Pedro Pascal. So that's just me. I mean, the dude that they got to play Johnny looks pretty good. The Human Torch looks pretty comic accurate for the most part. And I mean, Ben Grimm, obviously he looked better. I mean, Michael Chiklis Ben Grimm was never bad though. I didn't necessarily dislike him. It was a weird look, but like I liked him as the Thing. Um, Obviously, fucking Fantastic Four fucking Thing can eat ass because he was just fucking shit. I mean, he was CGI, and I think the new one is CGI, but still, he was bad CGI. The whole movie was just awful. It was written by a blind man who had never heard of a comic book in a dark cave somewhere with his own feces. That's what I think, anyway. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's like I don't know why they didn't cast him, and it was right there in front of them. But there's probably a lot into it. Who knows? I mean, maybe they tried. I don't know. But I probably wouldn't have chosen Pedro Pascal to play Mr. Fantastic. But it is what it is. I just, like I said, hope the movie's good. I don't really know much about the chick who plays Sue Storm. I've seen her in a couple movies. She's never that great. She's got big old eyes though. She always looked like she's like real surprised with everything when she's looking around, all like, oh my god, like. So yeah. But hopefully it's good. It's cool. They're finally bringing you too, Sean. Thanks for hanging out, dude. I appreciate it. I don't know how much longer it keeps going because I'm getting kind of hungry and it is getting a little later, but we'll see. I don't know how long I've been even going for. Where am I at? Where is? How long am I streaming for? I know there's a thing that says that in somewhere. Oh, hour and almost at half an hour. But yeah, thanks, Sean, for hanging out. I appreciate it, dude. Like I said, we'll see how this format works and see if it kind of does a little better. I'll probably still play video games sometimes too, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I hope it's a cool movie because, like I said, I'm gonna go see it, and I don't want to go see a shitty movie. So I already saw Fantastic Four, and that shit was awful. So I hope the new one's good. But we'll see how it goes. It'd be cool to see Galactus in live action too, and now that he's like going to be canon in the MCU, that's cool. That makes me happy. Also, Franklin Richards is apparently going to be in the movie, I think, or probably her and Larry. I don't know. I think they're twins, but I don't remember. Anyway, they'd be cool in the movie. They'd be going to be babies, but it leaves more open to have like the stuff that happens in the comics with like Franklin Richards and shit becoming like God. So that'd be cool. We'll see how it goes. Best wishes to the movie, and I hope people like it. And if they don't like it, it happens. I went and saw I Know What You Did Last Summer last weekend. That was pretty good. I mean, for what it is, slasher movie. It was better than I thought it was going to be for the most part. I'm not going to spoil anything. If anybody's seen it, then you probably know what I mean. When the ending kind of, it wasn't like unpredictable, but at the same time, it was like I was still a little like, wow, I'm surprised they did that. The reasoning on why they did it was kind of stupid too, but it is what it is. But I enjoyed it for the most part. I always like a good slasher, and that one was a decent slasher. And it reminded me of the first movie. It was still way better than the fucking sequels. The fucking I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I Always Knew This Last Summer. I never liked those movies very much at all. The first one was the best of them all. It's pretty much the only one I watched. I've seen all of them, but the first one was the only one I really watched. Second one, not nearly as good. It was okay. Third one was dog shit, obviously. This one I would say is probably right up there with the first one. I would say that the first one, I would say it's not as good as the first one, but it's still pretty close. Not as good. But if the first one was like an A, I'd give the second one like a B. It was better than average, but still not quite as good as the first one. So, it was a decent movie. And if you like slashers and you can watch it for free or something, or if it streams or something, or if you don't mind paying a couple bucks to go see it, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt have like retained roles, but I just feel like they didn't even need to be in the movie, to be honest, other than just to sell tickets and make it be like, oh, it's like the first one. Like, it just wasn't. It wasn't super good. They weren't super good in the movie. Like, they both didn't seem like they wanted to be in the movie at all. Freddie Prinze Jr. definitely didn't want to be in the movie. He seemed like he was just pissed the whole fucking movie reading from the script. Jennifer Love Hewitt, she did pretty good for what she was in the movie for, but she wasn't in it for much, at all. So it wasn't like Sidney Prescott coming back and screaming, actually doing stuff. Jennifer Love Hewitt just kind of came back, was in Julie. She just kind of came back and was there. That was basically it. I want to see that movie Eddington as well. I was going to see it last week, but I didn't. I just didn't end up having time. It looks like an interesting movie. Also, fucking Pedro Pascal. Goddamn, the motherfucker needs to put me in so many goddamn movies. I'm sick of seeing his fucking stupid face everywhere. But it is what it is. But that movie looks kind of cool. I like Joaquin Phoenix for the most part. So we'll see if Joaquin Phoenix does a good enough job. I don't know a whole lot about the movie, only from what I've obviously seen from trailers. But I haven't really looked into much because I don't want to spoil it for myself because it could be better than just what I think it is. So we'll see. I'll let everybody know how much if I like that. If I keep doing these kind of formats, I'll probably do little maybe movie reviews here and there. not anything too crazy, but I'll let you know what I think. Um, what other movies have I seen after that? I kind of didn't see movies for a little while, but I'm trying to think of what else I saw. Uh, Nothing super amazing as far as I remember. Uh, I love watching movies. Movies are like one of my biggest passions in life. I have seen so many movies. It's hard to tell how many movies I've seen. Um, I mean, shit. I used to have like more movies than I could fucking count for the most part. But yeah, I love movies. I love watching movies. I see movies all. Oh yeah, I went and saw Superman. That was pretty good. Superman was better than I thought it was gonna be. I enjoyed it. They didn't pull anything like super crazy like I thought they were going to. I didn't wasn't particularly a big fan of Lex Luthor in that movie, but it was still interesting. It was definitely like kind of more comic book ish in the Superman movie way, and I'm cool with that. I like comic book movie Superman, so it was cool. I enjoyed it. I think the only thing that I didn't, well, outside of Lex Luthor, the only thing I really didn't like was the fact that they made Ultraman the way they did. Um, Ultraman in the comics is like a Superman from a different universe, and in that universe, he becomes like an asshole and then like beats up everybody, and he also like huffs kryptonite because it actually gives him power and not 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 takes it away like Superman does. But I just didn't like what they did with Ultraman. He may come back, I don't know, but not a big fan of that part of it. But outside of that, pretty good movie. Jurassic Park Rebirth was ass. I didn't like that movie much at all. It still wasn't quite as bad as the third one. I think the third one's still worse, but that one was pretty ass. Didn't like it much. So yeah, those are probably like the last like three movies I saw lately. I probably have more, but I don't remember what they were. Um, they're supposed to be coming out with a Hellraiser game. That's kind of exciting. Of course, I always thought if they ever made a Hellraiser game, unfortunately, I thought it was going to be like another like Friday the 13th or Texas Chainsaw, where it's like isometric fucking one person is Leatherface. I mean, one person is Hellraiser. Or, sorry, Hellraiser. One person is Pinhead, and like everybody else is just teens. But it seems like they're actually making a single player like survival horror game outside of everything else with Hellraiser. So we will see how it goes. I am excited, but I'm also skeptical because I haven't seen much of the game yet. I think they put out a trailer, but you know, wasn't super crazy as far as the trailer goes. So trailer was cool. I'm sure they'll have more trailers when it gets closer to the game release, but having like a single person survival horror Hellraiser game sounds exciting. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if they got Doug Bradley to play the voice of Pinhead. That'd be cool. I hope they didn't pick somebody else. If they did, hopefully he's good. But we'll see. I don't know if there's going to be other Centibites in it either. Hopefully they don't have a bunch of fucking like Centibite dogs and shit running around. But we'll see. Um, but that was interesting. I'm excited to see kind of where that goes. Um, I don't know very many other games that are coming out at the moment as far as like actual games other than like GTA 6, obviously. Um, so we'll see how that goes. I've heard some different things about GTA 6 and the speculations, and I don't know if any of them are true, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I'm not quite as into the video game news as I am movies, only because there's so many video games to come out. But I mean, the one cool thing with games nowadays is I like how the fact that it's like you get more indie games and like lower like not like AAA games, but like AA games or single A games, something like that. Good games that may not cost $1 billion to make, but they're still good. So so I don't know that many games coming out soon, but I'm always down to see games coming out. I like video games a lot. I play video games most days. Not like a not like a crazy amount, but usually like once a day. Um, so I'm not like quite as in tune to the video game coming out, but it's cool to see like other games being announced and shit. The new Marvel fighting game looks cool. The one that makes being made by ArcWorks. I mean, they really can't do no wrong when it comes to fighting games. I mean, it seems like everything they touch turns to gold anyway. So Dragon Ball Fighters was dope. And if you get a Dragon Ball Fighters game in the form of Marvel, that's going to be dope. I mean, it's going to be the Marvel Ultimate Line, or sorry, Marvel versus Capcom 4 that we want until we actually get Marvel versus Capcom 4, which I still cannot believe Marvel versus Capcom 4 is actually happening. That's just going to be fucking awesome. Uh, so I hope that game is good. They're probably gonna like sell a hell of DLC characters and shit too, like they do every fucking fighting game. But I'd be interested in playing it. So we'll see if that's good. But there's a lot. I mean, shit, there's just so many games I still need to play. I don't have time or the money to be able to buy them all. I would love to play Final Fantasy Rebirth because I finally beat Final Fantasy Remake after probably having it for like fucking 5 years. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Trying to think of what else to. Oh yeah, so California's losing people. Um, that's like for California, but California's kind of a shithole now. If anybody who's watching this has been to California, California's kind of a shithole. But yeah, in the last 5 years, California has had a net negative of people moving in versus moving out. It's not a huge negative, but it's still a negative. So they have more people moving out than they're moving in, which doesn't surprise me because that state is still fucking horrendously expensive as fuck and like not needed to be. And California, like all the people over there bitching about it, like Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's such a fucking loser, dude. That dude needs to be fucking. That dude probably needs to be in jail. I mean, that dude has probably committed so much fraud and fucking theft in that state. It's fucking disgusting. But yeah, that whole fucking state can go straight to hell for all I give a fuck. I still have a little bit of family who lives in California, but yeah, fuck that state. Like, I could care fucking less for that state, man. That state fucking sucks. And they brought it all on themselves, man. California's been run like shit for a fucking long time. Yeah, it makes a lot of money, but that's because they have like some of the biggest tech shit in the fucking United States or even the world in fucking California. Silicon Valley, fucking San Francisco back in the day, fucking a couple other places that I can't think of at the moment. But they've always been pretty big in the tech industry and shit, so they brought up a lot of money, and that's why, I mean, that's really why California kind of went to hell and back, honestly, outside of the bullshit fucking regulations and shit that they have in that state. But yeah, I mean, when they got the tech bases moved there, and then all the fucking tech fucking yuppies and shit started moving there, it drove up all the fucking prices of rent. It fucking drove hella people out of the fucking, out of the certain parts of the city and into the outskirts of the cities and shit. Drove a lot of people out of their houses. Prices became fucking crazy. Like, taxes are just shit in California as it is. So taxes were always fucking bad, but it's just California has done nothing to help themselves. They just do everything to make it worse. So I have no sympathy for that fucking state. But it's just funny seeing all those fucking boohoo bitch fucking people bitching about California and shit losing people. And it's like, well, I mean, it's California. What do you expect now, man? You fucking let the whole state get taken over by fucking crackheads and homeless people. You make everything fucking like, I mean, dude, rent in California is fucking criminal. Like, it is literally fucking criminal. I mean, the only place I can think of that's probably worse in California as far as like a state goes is probably New York. There are a couple of places pretty close, like Seattle and one or two other places, but New York is fucking right up there with California. The only thing that California has is better weather than New York, but that's about it. And you could even describe that as like maybe you don't like the weather in California all the time because it's kind of the same. But California is ass, and they kind of deserve everything they get when it comes to their bullshit because they have not been trying to get their act together for a fucking long time, and they have driven everybody out of that state that they could possibly drive out of that state because they just can't afford to fucking live there. So fuck California. I laugh at their demise, and I could give a fuck less. I remember when Gavin Newsom was talking about fucking wanting to like secede from the fucking United States. I'm like, dude, go fucking ride a fucking head. Nobody cares. Like, California is not the hotspot it once used to be. California is that old dive bar that used to be really popping back in the day, but now it's just all the people who are fucking old fogies that go in there to try to relive like their youth, but they can't, so they just get really drunk and miserable. That's California. You know, I mean, granted, doesn't have humidity or hurricanes, and that's probably the only reason that people, you know, it wouldn't be better than fucking Florida, but Florida got better shit. I mean, better prices for the most part. It's getting kind of expensive in Florida too, but they still better than California. They got better amusement parks than we do too. And we got Disneyland, they got Disney World. They got Universal bullshit there in LA, but they got Universal World in fucking Orlando. Like, the only thing that sucks about Florida is the weather, the humidity, and the fucking hurricanes and shit. But they ain't got no. They ain't got no. What do you call it? Income tax. That's cool. They got kind of shitty state tax, but they got no income tax, so that's cool. I've been to Florida before. Florida's interesting. I don't have anything against Florida. I just don't think I could live there because it's so fucking humid, and they got hurricanes, and I don't like hurricanes. They scare me a little bit. Not like tornadoes, but they still scare me a little bit. So, yeah. But California can go straight into the shitter. I could give a fuck less about California, to be honest. You know, so, yeah. California losing people. Gavin Newsom mad. He about to be out of office. Nobody cares. That's about as political as I'm going to get today because California sucks. I just like to throw it out there. It's a shit state. I wouldn't go back there if somebody paid me. Well, I'll probably have to go back one day, but not anytime soon. So, but yeah. I mean, granted, the place where I'm living now is not like the state that I'm living at now is not like the best state in the world, but it's better than California. So it's not hard to be better than California though. So, but yeah. What time is it? I'm getting hungry, and it is 9 o'clock. I'm probably going to call it here. So, whoever is still watching, I appreciate the hell out of you of watching my stream and hanging out with me. Thank you, Sean, even though he's not here. Thank you, Karis. I think Adversary popped up in here. Thank you, Adversary, if you did pop up in here. Thanks for anybody who stopped in just for a second to watch. You know, check it out, see if they liked it or not. This is kind of a new format for me. This is like my first talking one. I think I did okay. I could probably do this. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I do like playing video games though, so you know we'll see how I can balance things. I may not have enough things to talk about all the time when I do these things, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it was fun. Thanks for anybody who is watching or watched. I appreciate you guys. If you did enjoy, I would appreciate a like and a sub. That would make me real happy. It'd make the happiest Leprechaun. And then I would be happy and I would not cry. If you don't sub, I'll be the sad Leprechaun. And I will cry in my room and I'll be sad. But yeah, it's been cool. I hope everybody has a good day. If you didn't have a good day, hopefully you can make tomorrow better. If you can, you know, do something good for yourself. Do something good for somebody else. All we can do is make the world a better place. And even if you don't like something, don't take it out on somebody. Just, you know, do good things for good people. And hopefully everybody's having a good night and having a good day. And hopefully you are productive today. And if you can't be productive today, hopefully you can be productive tomorrow. Life's all about moving forward. That's all we can do. You gotta put your foot forward in front of the next one and just keep moseying down this goddamn fucking trail because once you reach the end, that's it. There ain't no going back, and we don't get a reverse button. There ain't no redos. So hopefully everybody remembers that and has a good night, and hopefully everybody has a good day tomorrow. It's Friday tomorrow. If you ain't got a job, if you ain't got shit to do, hopefully you getting high. on the weed, of course. Don't smoke nothing else because that'd make me sad. Sad leprechaun. But yeah, hopefully everybody's doing good. Thank you for tuning in. We'll probably do this again, I'm assuming, at some point in time. Well, I don't know if this is going to be my new thing. We'll see how it goes. It's something else. We make it work. We moving forward. We troopers. Everybody trooper. Thank you for being troopers. But anyway, I think I'm going to call it here. I appreciate everybody for tuning in and contributing. Hopefully, I made somebody's day better, and that's all we can aim for. So, everybody, take it easy.